Hey y'all, welcome back to LA Cat Custom Tour. In this video, I'm going to upgrade the carburetor on my old C10. So stick around, it should be fun. Maybe I can solve that problem. Let's head on to the shop and get started on it. Much cleaner that time. Oh well, the new carburetor should be much better. Alright y'all, so I just got back from the test drive. I snatched air filter off the carburetor. I'm going to give y'all a rundown of what I'm doing. Right now I have a vacuum secondary carburetor on my big block. And I've had it for about 3 years. About 2 years ago though, I did a gear swap from a 308 to a 411 gear. And I'm running a trans brake on the transmission and stuff like that. And the carburetor did really well when I had the highway gears in and stuff. But trying to get the vacuum secondary to work right with the deeper gear and trying to drag race more with it. I just trying to get the timing set between the vacuum secondary opening and the accelerator pump and stuff. I just can't get it to do what I want it to do. So I got to upgrade. I'm going to show it to y'all. I just snatch this carburetor off and put it on the table and show y'all the differences on the vacuum secondary versus a mechanical secondary or a double pumper as some people know it. So I just snatch it off and get to the table. Alright y'all, so now I got the old carburetor taken off the truck. I got it sitting right beside my brand new one. So what I want to do is I want to show you the features of this new carburetor and then compare it with my old one before I go ahead and stick it on the truck and see just how much of an upgrade it is. Alright y'all, so this is my new carburetor. This is a Brawler 850 CFM mechanical secondary. Brawler is Holley's more budget line of carburetors, but this is based off of a 4150 Holley carburetor. So all of your aftermarket parts will work on this. You tune it basically the same way you tune any other Holley carburetor of this style. Brawler has a street version as well as a race version. This is their race version. It does not have a choke. Their street versions will have an electric choke or a manual choke on them. This one doesn't have one. So this is the race version. It's set up to where it's completely tunable and adjustable, to where you can really dial it in for your engine on a racing application, which is what my truck is. So it's a mechanical secondary, which means the front and the main and secondary barrels open up. When you open the throttle up, all four open up. So it's a really good carburetor. It has screw-in air bleeds on the top here, and has on both sides of the carburetor, you can see it has the sight glasses for your floats on both sides. That's a really neat feature. My other carburetor doesn't have it, but both sides, you can see right there to set your floats. This is a really nice carburetor. It's a die-cast aluminum. It's a lighter weight carburetor than your older styles. So being a mechanical secondary and an 850 CFM, it ought to do the job pretty good on my truck. So I'm about to show you my old one and compare the differences between a vacuum secondary and this mechanical secondary. Alright y'all, so as y'all can see, this is my old carburetor. This is a Quick Fuel Technology 780 CFM vacuum secondary. Quick Fuel Technology is just another brand of Holley, just like my Brawler is. They have several different brand names, but they're all based off of basically the same 4150 style Holley carburetor. So you tune them all pretty much the same, and all the parts will interchange pretty much from this carburetor to my new one. So that's a really good thing, because I got some parts that are saved up and gaskets and stuff that'll work between the two. So, but this right here is based off of a street version of the carburetor. So it has an electric choke as well as a vacuum secondary. Mechanical secondaries, as you saw on the other carburetor, when you open up the throttle, it manually opens up all four barrels. Whereas on this one, it's a vacuum secondary. So when you open up the throttle, you only get the front barrels to open up manually. Whenever the throttle is held wide open, as you run it wide open like this, as the engine vacuum is needed, it'll actually force the secondaries to open up. But this carburetor is mainly set up for street driving on cars that have really highway gears and stuff that really can't use the fuel properly on a mechanical secondary. So I got a project that this carburetor will work perfect on. This carburetor is still in good shape. It doesn't have a whole lot of miles on it. So I'm going to save this carburetor. I'm going to take it apart and clean it all up, put it on my shelf. And got another project that I can't wait to get started working on that this carburetor is probably going to do really good on. So I got one upgrade. This quick fuel carburetor, or this Brawler carburetor, is ready to bolt on and drive right now. But I have one upgrade that I want to do because I'm going to be drag racing this truck, and this is a very needed upgrade for anybody that's trying to drag race these Holly style carburetors. So about to break it apart and show you the upgrade that I'm going to do to it. And once I get the upgrade installed on this carburetor here, I get it put on the truck, and this is going to make some burnouts. Alright, so one of the issues that can develop with a Holley-based carburetor is when you launch the truck, the fuel will try to slosh away from the center of the carburetor back into the bowl. And what that does is it can actually uncover the jets on the secondary of the carburetor. And if you uncover the jets, the engine can go lean, and even if it's just for a fraction of a second, if the engine is set on a really ragged edge of power, or if you're running nitrous or something, any fraction of a second that you run it lean can be bad. So there is an upgrade that you can do. Is basically a jet extension kit which moves the jet further back into the fuel bowl to allow it to stay covered in fuel. I have one installed on my quick fuel carburetor, and instead of using the brass extensions to move the jet further back into the fuel bowl, I bought this kit, which is basically a hard plastic style hose that slides onto the jet, and it leaves the jet in the meter block where it's supposed to be, instead of moving it out and possibly messing with the flow rate of the jet and stuff. I kind of like the idea of these plastic hoses better than the brass sticking out. I was really pleasantly surprised to find out when I pulled the bowl off of this Brawler that it already has the jet extension kit installed on it, which also means that it comes with the notched float, because I forgot to buy the float and I was going to rob it out of this carburetor. But I'm going to pull the brass extensions off and put the jets back into the meter block, and I want to add these plastic hoses onto the jets, and then we'll stick the bowl back on this carburetor, and it'll be ready to put back on the truck and get it tuned up and get ready to make some passes. So as y'all can see, I got the jet extension swapped out. These jet extensions are good and tight, so you're going to muscle up to get them put on the jets. Good thing is they won't try to fall off when you're going down the road. One thing to make a note of though is they make a few different lengths of the hose in the kit. So make sure that the hose doesn't come in contact with your notched float, so that your float has full range of motion. I went ahead and checked that out, and my float fits, works perfect with the jet extensions. So I'm going to get ready to bolt this on and get the carburetor put on my truck, and get ready to go make some test passes while we still have some good weather. So. carburetor is installed. Cut it off. I got a leak. Where am I leaking? Cut it back on. All right, cut it back off. Whatever. All right, check the throttle. All right, let off. Hit it. All right, let off. Is it hard to push? Like really hard?
I'm just pushing slow. I'm not stomping my foot on it.
Well, I mean, don't stop it, but come on, go faster. Yeah, that's wide open. All right. Well, this isn't exactly the ending I was hoping for when I decided to make this video, but that's the joys of hot rodding. For those of y'all that's been watching this video, and y'all probably didn't expect me to be standing under this truck pointing at the rear end, but here I am. I decided to take the truck on a test drive. I got the float set, and everything else on the carburetor is box stock. Set the floats, decided to take it for a test drive. The truck felt great. I opened the secondaries up, I even hit it on the trans brake, and everything felt great. But it was really late in the evening. I didn't have time to film, and I had to go back out of town for work. So I had set it up to where I was going to go to the track the next weekend. I was going to bring both carburetors with me, and I was going to do a side-by-side comparison and try to tune this carburetor up to see if I could make a better run with the new carburetor and see how much of an improvement it was at the track. I found out during the week that the track was going to be unprepped, so it kind of wasn't really going to be as good as I thought it was going to be, but still going to go and have fun. My late wife's parents showed up. My best friend's wedding was the following week, so they came down a week early, and they were going to head to the track and get to see me run this truck for the first time, which was a really, really important thing for me. It was really, really happy to have them with me. So they came, and my parents came. We had a big old hangout at the track, and I went out there to make my first pass. And very first pass of 2020, going to make a big show, and I wanted to show out and have a good time. Just a shakedown run. I didn't even film it. They were filming from the sidelines. So pulled down there, I did a big old burnout, and show you on the video right here, see the big old burnout I did, and pulled it to the staging lines, and see what you can watch what happens right now. So you can see that that was a disaster of a pass. And what happened was, I'm pretty sure, I haven't taken the rear end apart yet, but I'm pretty sure that the side gears that engage the lunchbox style locker I have in here probably is rounded off or something like that, causing the right rear axle to not lock in on the locker. Pretty sure that's what it is. We'll pull the cover off and fix it. But I made that run, and I come back around and I watched the video and saw what had happened. And I did a test hit in the parking lot and it spun both tires. I said, I'm gonna go back and try again. It felt, once it engaged, it was locked. Maybe it was just, it didn't lock right when it went to take off, or something stupid happened. Maybe it was a fluke. So I made a second pass and the track was not being prepped. My truck didn't hook. So I said, instead of just trying to beat on it till it grenades, I said, I'll throw it on a trailer, I'll bring it home, and I'm gonna do a street video, going up and down the street and testing it that way and seeing the differences in it. And so I took it out the next day and I did a shakedown run to make sure the rear end was okay. And I made it all the way to town and the rear end did good. It engaged, it locked. I went around curves and stabbed on it. Felt great. I was like, all right, perfect. I headed back to the house to come get my video equipment. I said, try it one more time. And I pulled down, slowed down about 10 or 15 miles an hour, dropped it back in first gear, and stabbed it. When I stabbed it, the left rear tire spun, just blew itself off. Truck started sliding sideways, and I was like, nah, not even gonna try it no more. I'm gonna put it on the lift to see what I broke before I just grenade the whole rear end. So here I am. Got it sitting on the lift and I'm about to pull the cover off, and actually this is about 3 weeks later, and I went ahead and said, whatever's wrong with it, I went ahead and bought a spool. So if nothing else is wrong with it, I'm going to install a Mosier full spool to complement my Mosier C-clip eliminator axle shafts, and I got some slicks. So maybe this time when I go to the track, I actually got traction. So I'm going to do another video with the carburetor. I'm going to go through step by step and show you all the features of the carburetor and go more in depth in it. And I'm going to try to do an on the road testing and tuning to try to get it set up so I can have a really good street carburetor and take it to the track and see if I can do any more tuning and tweaking to it to try to get a little more out of it at the track. And bring y'all along as I mess around with that, checking air fuel ratio, checking spark plugs and all that kind of stuff to try to see if I can get this new Brawler double pumper, see if I can make it work better. But I'm in the video right here because I got to inspect the damage. So y'all like this video, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and keep on coming back for more because I've got a whole pile of boxes worth of parts that I got to be installing. And if you can see in the far corner, I got a 454 I'm about to start building. So 396 is going to come out and I'm going to have more horsepower so I can break even more parts. And when I break them, you'll get to see them here. And right now, as you can hear, it engaged. Sometimes it does and sometimes it don't. I'm gonna pull it out before it decides to blow everything apart. So hopefully y'all have enjoyed this video, and if you did, comment on it and like and subscribe, and keep on coming back for more here at Alley Cat Customs. This one, this being a street version, it has an electric choke on it, and it's also a vacuum secondary. So what that means is when you open the throttle up, you only had the front barrels open up, and I am pouring fuel everywhere. That's a good way to get high. Try to pour the gas out a minute ago and it wouldn't come out. Now it's coming out everywhere. Golly. Right on my boot. I'm getting high. Ugh, don't varnish your fuel too. CFM vacuum secondary. Man, I think I high. Poured that fuel all over the place now. Gotta go get some air. This one, they all pretty much interchange throughout the different brands, as long as they're based off of the same 4150 series carburetor. You pretty much swap them all. I done really got high. That fuel has done got me. Yeah, I definitely need some air.